Hi, hello, what's up? If you ever tried exploiting a game's mechanics, or played Cookie Clicker, you would already know about auto clickers and key clickers, programs that will press a specific button for you depending on how you set them. A more complex version of these programs is AutoHotkey, which allows you to run custom written scripts with no real character limit. This got me wondering, could you use this to beat an entire game? I quickly realized that my immense weight stopped me from doing all that work, so I settled for just the tutorial. Quick note, some people out there that aren't really into thinking might think that this is basically just a tool-assisted speedrun, which is a very common practice. While I'm not gonna explain why that's stupid, you can just think of it as, if a tool-assisted speedrun is a guy programming inputs, this is more like a caveman trying to invent a time machine with sticks and shit. After opening the program, I quickly realized that this is not written in Python or C#, but rather in its own coding language called AutoHotkey v2. And so I did what every programmer that doesn't know what they're doing would do, and I asked Gemini. Keeping it respectful, of course. After learning the basic commands, I booted up the game. Oops. I forgot I had this installed. I created a new character. Blessed him with the name Nada Busta. Very large, of course, like me, in real life. And thus, the challenge began. Yes, indeed. Wrong one.
And only dark will remain.
Oh no. Don't let the dark ones into my kingdom. Is it working? No. What to do, big guy? I was originally going to have the program control the keyboard as well as the mouse. However, I ran into some difficulties. Move the mouse 100 pixels to the right, 0 vertically, and speed, okay? Okay, I get it. After some extremely thorough research, I still didn't get it. Okay, now it works. But it goes like very far. And I don't understand, it's supposed to only go horizontally. But somehow I end up like here. Like, what? In the end, like a college student on their first day, I gave up. Yeah, fuck it. The beginning went smooth enough though. My strategy was to code each section with an approximate starting point and tweak things at the end when putting it all together. This turned out to be a horrible strategy since it's basically impossible to predict where your camera would be facing. Okay, what the fuck was that? And since your movement is relative to your camera's position, I would basically have to make a new character each attempt in order to get accurate test results. Rest in peace, Nada Busta. Welcome, Nada Busta 2. Okay, I'm confused. They delete half the code by accident, oopsie daisy. Either way, this was just not working. Even when I didn't change the code, the differences in each run was significant. Oh look, wait, what? Now he's going straight. I'm so confused. Is the camera just random every single time? Looking back on it, there's no way for me to know the exact reason for this randomness, since it is most likely a combination of smaller, normally insignificant variables that were most likely assigned to be random for the sake of variety, or some sort of collision issues. The way I ended up fixing this is by basically rubbing against every wall inside, so that even if I'm slightly too much to the left or too much to the right or whatever, my character will be constantly forced back on the right path. You go this way, you hit the left side on purpose, you hit the right corner on purpose. You always, no matter if you're like a couple centimeters left, a couple centimeters right, you always end up the right way, and then you hit that. I think I have some type of lice in my room. Not so good, but not so bad either. No Busta Rhymes, that's a stupid name. Pause, unpause. Oh, don't know the laws. Kill Madrid. It should get as far as last time at least, and if it fucks up along the way, I'm not gonna be happy. Place your bets in the comments. How many nuts am I gonna have to bust? After much struggle, oh fuck, I changed the wrong one. I made it to the boss room. I have that number on my phone every day. This was far from consistent, but it was a start. I wanna dance on the chandelier. Having reached the boss fight, I quickly realized that this was going to be the toughest part of the video for a multitude of reasons, which I'm going to explain in a bit. But before that, why didn't I just take the door? This would allow me to get better equipment as well as half the boss's HP with a plunge attack, effectively making the fight shorter. Well, it was mainly to avoid the hollows at the top of the asylum. Dealing with the boss would already be challenging enough since I can't predict which attacks he will use and in what order. By cutting as many enemy encounters as I can, I would effectively reduce the randomness of the run significantly. By killing the boss early, I would be granted the key without having to fight the hollows, and once I had the key, all I had to do was greet Oscar, the only way I know how, and take a taxi. But this would still mean having to fight the boss, which wasn't as easy as it sounded. I of course had to use bombs because otherwise my character couldn't do much damage with a broken sword. My strategy was to run up to him, lock on, throw a bomb or two, then dodge back, walk a bit forward, throw a bomb, dodge back, and so on. This proved to be a weirdly effective strategy, not so much at first, but over time with some small improvements it had about an 80% success rate. The bigger problem ended up being what to do from here. You see, so far, even with a little variation between runs, I could still sort of force my character into following the path I chose for him. But with the boss's random movements and attacks, which drastically changed my camera position, I was pretty unsure of where to go from here. Each time I killed him, I ended up in a random place in the arena, and worst of all, facing a completely random direction. So I came up with a solution. The only thing I figured was semi-consistent in all the runs was the fact that my character ended up facing towards the boss's side of the arena, aka the south side. Excuse me. From there to there, this is gonna be the angle, and it's not gonna be more than that, hopefully. Because of this, I made my character win the fight, then run to the north wall, so that way, even if his camera is not faced perfectly, he can hopefully run against the pillars to straighten himself out. There's still one problem though, and that is the fact that even though my character is positioned well, the camera isn't. Meaning that any moves I make from here is gonna be different every time due to the camera facing different directions. This is when I remembered. The game has a mechanic where if you try to lock on to an enemy where there isn't one, your camera will just recenter. This allowed me to get past this room about 40 to 50% of the time. Whilst hardly satisfying, I decided to move on to the second half of the tutorial while I was trying to come up with a better solution. The only reason I can even split the run is because of this bonfire right here. It allows me to wedge my character between it and the wall, and when I interact with it and press Q to reset my camera, this will effectively give me a checkpoint. The rest of the run was pretty easy, except for a couple of things. One of them is this hollow right here, who would sometimes mess up my movement, but I ended up making my character throw a bomb at it, which fortunately also made him face the fog gate. The other one is the more interesting one in my opinion, Oscar's wall. What? Well, I can't even like replicate this clip like if I try to do it manually. Like every time I try to do it, it like fixes itself. Like look at this. Like look. So how is it that every single time it manages to get itself stuck on here? Look, like either that one fixed it or this one fixed it. But somehow when the code does it, it's like it gets stuck every single time. Okay, to be fair, it did just do it there. I think it's just like from this one spot. I don't know. I think I know what it is. I think if the camera is facing exactly through the gap, then it's not gonna get corrected by the brick. Like that brick right there sticking out kind of corrects your camera if you're like walking towards it, you see? But if you walk diagonally through it, it's not gonna do that. And I always walk diagonally through it. The way I end up fixing this is by just making my character shift a little bit to the left so that he always ends up hitting the bricks. At this point I had to leave the country because, you know, IRS and stuff. But you know, when I was gonna come back, it should have been easy. All I had to do was run the code and hope I get lucky with the boss fight. That's all. So, how did it go?
Okay, well, this is awkward.
The boss fight was way worse than I remembered. And trying to find the door afterwards was basically like winning the lottery. So, I came up with one last strategy.
The idea is to just not lock on. So that way, the camera stays the same.
If I didn't lock on, the camera wouldn't move, making it extremely easy to find the door afterwards. Oh, but how are you gonna hit him if you can't lock onto him? Shut the fuck up. Thankfully, the boss doesn't actually move left or right all that much, he just attacks you head on. I also made my character throw bombs more aggressively, as a shorter fight would have a lower chance of variation. Because he's always going to be facing forward, I just made him run straight to the south wall and turn left and get himself stuck in this corner right here. Once you go into this corner, the video is basically over. And so, here's what happened. I did it. Where's my champagne? And that's it. I also added the character creation section into the code, so that way you can just run the code straight from the main menu. And what was his name? Nota Buster 271! With that being said, I'm gonna finish this in the next video. It should only take me about 2 days. Maybe 3. If you want the code for yourself, it's in the description, you can download it, you can try it yourself, very easy. About a 50-50% chance, so you know. If you wanna fix it, feel free. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Probably in 5 years.
Арбуз, привет. Арбуз, перни. Блядь. О, блядь, ебать вонища, блядь.